Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Today's July 30th. I immediately forgot the name of the show. Links with Friends. We've
Wow, that's
years.
You haven't done that one yet.
No. I started to say the news. I guess we can say it on this channel, right? We'll probably get. Will we get demonetized for that? Yeah.
And you have now.
I have now, but I'm not in the context of like the name of the show. It's not in the title of the video.
We actually got some weird algorithmic promotion under the like contemporary topics trending thing, which has never happened on the old channel.
I wonder why.
Because it's arbitrary and capricious.
Yeah.
Share with your trending topics, friends.
Trending topics today are business and social.
And Marcus, if you think that the green agenda and carbon credits and all that is a load of BS, and I have to say BS because I just can't say the real word, you're right in a very literal sense.
Microsoft buys up more than $1 billion worth of excrement, including human poop, to clean up its AI mess. Company will pump waste underground to offset AI carbon emissions. The thing that this article messes up is that there's a huge scandal involving the company, one of the companies that tracks green energy credits and like carbon credits. They were like 2-to-1. It was something crazy, like a 2-to-1 ratio between issued credits versus...
Because no one can measure it.
Yeah.
They always lie about it. That's been a huge problem all the time. So good news, if at home and you're thinking, how can I help with what's going on with the climate? What can I do? And you don't know. Well, the answer is simple. Just go out in the backyard, dig a hole, poop in it. Problem solved.
If you're in the desert, maybe don't do that.
It works everywhere.
You're also not supposed to do that if you're on a lot of medicines, because that your excrement is tainted by that.
If you're on top of Mount Whitney, you have to take a wag bag. So
all of their AI destruction of the environment, just bury some poop. Problem solved.
Also, the green energy thing is affected by the quote unquote deregulation that's happening in America, like cutting some of the red tape and that kind of thing. And honestly, I don't know if it's a good or a bad thing. There's a lot of insanity that is around regulated things, like the AI regulation thing. One of the things that didn't make it through there is apparently new housing construction. If you're an apartment building that is 5 stories or more, in addition to having the standpipe system for firefighters, you're also supposed to have something for delivering air, like compressed air and an air tank, and a room where your air compressor is blast proof so that firefighters can have air. The problem is there's only one company that sells the stuff to do that, and that's Johnson Controls, and that it costs $1 million if you go the full complete application route. So if you have a 5-story apartment building, it had better be a lot of units to offset that $1 million cost. And that is still regulated that way. That's still required in some states. But at the federal level, that kind of thing was supposed to be disallowed because insanity. So I don't know. There's a lot of that sort of madness that is green energy credit adjacent as well.
And Jeff Bezos, no longer running Amazon. He's got a lot of free time and he's got a lot of free money, and he's constantly trying to find new things to do with it.
Jeff Bezos weighing possible acquisition of CNBC cable network. This is apparently because of the stuff going on with TV shows and cable networks and mergers, and it's like, we'll let your merger go through if you drop this show. That sure seems like the quid pro quo that's happened, and so...
Well, they spun it off, so it's no longer part. It's like just free floating now, so he's going to swoop in, grab it. That's rumored. He hasn't confirmed that.
But to what end?
I thought he was enjoying his honeymoon after, shutting down all of Venice.
Well, the honeymoon's over.
Back to, sucking up companies.
It is a stupid thing to buy. I mean, I can't imagine. He seems like a very savvy businessman, right? Maybe he got lucky. I don't know. Why would you buy a television station now?
That was a huge plot point in the television show Succession, which ended like 3-4 years ago.
There's no way CNBC does anything but plummet in viewership from now on, right? How could anything else happen?
Maybe the play there is to just buy up a bunch of influencer networks and just bring all that out in the open, because that's already happened behind closed doors, and it's really kind of scary.
I mean, he did the same thing with Twitch, right? He bought Twitch thinking they'd make money on it. I don't think they ever have, right?
Well, Amazon bought Twitch.
Amazon, yeah.
He's buying this.
You know, the wild thing that happened with Twitch that nobody ever talks about is that Amazon really did try to do like brand deals and message steering with the people that stream. But the people that stream are just too much of a wild card.
I was going to say, have you been on Twitch TV? We're on twitch.tv.
And so it's just like, oh, we really would like you to do content talking about the positive aspects of like this green energy credit thing. And the Twitch streamers are like, do what now?
I'm too busy screaming at my healer for not getting healed.
It's just, what a wild timeline this is.
And Arizona is actually producing chips, or will very soon. And we might actually get them in our greedy hands, possibly sometime next year.
TechSpot's headline says, the AMD CEO Lisa Su says TSMC chips made in the cost will cost up to 20% more, but they're worth it. Really, it's only going to be 10% more, right? Because of the tariffs?
20% is her markup. She'll be passing that along to the consumer. But she does point out that you don't have to worry about the invasion of Taiwan as much.
Yeah, it's probably good that we have at least some domestic supply.
Some domestic supply. That's a great lead-in. Because some is the key word there. Some might go away.
The headline here, which is deeply disturbing from Tom's Hardware, is Intel will cancel 14A and the following nodes if it can't win a major external customer. Move would cede leading edge nodes to TSMC and Samsung. Holy crap. This is literally Intel throwing in the towel, which is insane. Go ahead.
Well, they say they do have their own plans for this.
Yes.
But they are willing to scrap those because they don't believe they can make it work financially unless they have another customer.
I read the original source material with a slightly different take on it, which is, you know, the Goofy meme where it's like, I'll do it again.
Yeah.
It read to me like Lip Bhutan was telling the company, like, I need you to be honest about the problems, and I need us to hit the timelines, and I need you guys to be accurate with what you're saying. Otherwise, it's this. We will cancel and do the bad thing. So I think right now it is, we're on if you guys are honest. But if you're not, that is, and so I read it with the meme, the energy from the meme, in other words.
It's not good no matter how you slice it.
No, yeah.
It's a bad time. And Intel's mistakes of the past might also be emerging now that the world is on fire.
Firefox engineer warns that Raptor Lake CPUs are crashing more often because of summer heat. It's making me worry about the future of these chips. Yeah, if you didn't get the firmware updates and the BIOS updates, your 13th or 14th gen Intel CPUs probably screwed, especially if it's an i7 or an i9.
Now, this is not a thermal shutdown. This is only crashing Firefox, but it's doing it to the tune that they actually had to turn off the automatic bug submission because they were getting them in such rapid succession. And it's only coming from Europe, or mostly coming from Europe, because the Europeans are staunchly anti-air conditioning, and they are burning alive. But they're still browsing the web.
Asterisk. Citation needed there, maybe.
These CPUs have physical, like at this point, these CPUs have physical degradation and need to be replaced. I think it'll be interesting though, because the EU with like the warranty, the goods, and the warrant, like they have much stronger protections in Europe than they do here. So Intel's probably going to be on the hook to replace a lot of CPUs if people want to bother to go through with that. You know, sort of famously, Intel, when all this went down last year, Intel promised they would replace even OEM CPUs, which don't typically have a warranty through Intel. They're not doing that, of course, but they had promised to do that. And so I think it's interesting that the EU will probably, like, there's probably going to be lawsuits and a mess for years to come if people care to get their chips replaced.
Look at the scroll bar.
Ooh, it's trying.
The ad blocker is actively doing something here, right?
Yeah. Something keeps being added to the page that keeps being deleted. It's like, let's add an ad. Let's not. Let's add an ad. Let's not. Let's add an ad. Let's not. Axios really trying to get that ad in there.
And yes, the data centers, we are entering into the age of the data center. I mean, we might be living in it, but it's going to get a lot crazier. And the new data centers are, the ones we have now are quaint little cottages compared to what's coming. These are city-sized behemoths. But is that realistic?
OpenAI's data center ambitions collide with reality. It's like, we need more. It's like, where are we going to put it? There's not a lot of places to put it.
Look at the jiggle on that scroll bar. I must inject the ads. So they point out that OpenAI, they got the Stargate project with Oracle and another one, but this is not rolling out as quickly as they want because there are just physical limitations. There's the power, there's the water, and there's actually shipping all of this stuff and building it. It can't happen fast enough for the greediness of the AI.
I think I commented last week, the desperation in Sam Altman's tweets are also, quite tasty, because he's saying things like, do you have 100,000 GPUs online in your hybrid cloud? Like, we'll just lease time from you. It's fine. Like, just give us the capacity.
And the same thing is going on in China, but they are much more restricted. It's not just physical limitations and, the problems of nature. They have sanctions to worry about as well, but maybe not as much as we thought.
The Register's headline is $1 billion worth of Nvidia chips fell off the truck and found their way into China, a report says.
It's wild because they're over an ocean. So, they had to float off of the truck.
No, if you dig into this, that $1 billion worth of Nvidia chips, they came from our allies. Like, some of our allies shipped them directly, and we just don't want to name them because it's going to create some friction.
I think she might have been joking.
I was joking.
That's a well-known phrase for organized crime.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't think they were stolen. I think they were most assuredly not. We know where they came from.
No, and then in fact they point out in the article that the going black market price is actually 50% higher. So they're paying a huge markup. Nvidia's not getting that money, but somebody is, and that's too tantalizing for people not to do crime. If it's a 50% immediate gain, people will do crime, guaranteed. And Amazon feeling the same kind of heat, although in this situation it was maybe a combination of factors. But again, things have to come together. You can't just make this happen because of money.
Amazon scraps its €300 million Irish plant in a blow to the state. Just doesn't make sense anymore economically, says Amazon. Although they might have known for a while, because they really didn't do much in terms of preparing the site or any of the prep work. They might have done this in a last-ditch effort to keep their Irish tax break status.
Mm.
Which Trump has verbally claimed he will not tolerate anymore. I don't know if that's true, but...
It won't be for $1 million.
For one CNBC. And Amazon has the new hot item. This will be the hot Christmas item, right? And as usual, it spies on everything.
Amazon buys AI wearable that listens to everything you say. It's going to transcribe all of your conversations and give you a summary at the end of the day, and also share that with an untold number of people online.
Not just your conversations, but presumably mine as well, if I'm near you, which I don't like. There's nothing I can do.
That's why I'm
it.
training in telepathy.
We're gonna go full scanner darkly, aren't we? Level 1's gonna be selling like hoodies and robes that you put on that has like the Rorschach effect, and it's randomly modular.
Sandwalking manual.
I'm telling you, it's the vests for the Wi-Fi, and then we'll have an exchange program. Because if you wore the same 5 vests,
they would start realizing who it was.
But then you got to worry about somebody doing a horrible thing, and then you eventually getting a hold of that vest, and getting arrested. And then they have to... It's like,
cleanvests.com.
We've noticed you don't have snow on your house. Can you explain that to us? And it's like, I'm not feeling very free here, guys.
Maybe you just have bad insulation.
And you might be wondering, how did we get here? How did we enable these monstrous companies to destroy our lives? And while we can't totally blame this one, do you have a Switch 2 in your house? Because if so, you are a massive, massive part of the problem.
The Nintendo Switch 2 is the fastest selling game hardware in U.S. history, but...
looking at you, Amber.
82% of buyers also got Mario Kart World.
Because it's the only game. There's 2 games.
One of our editors is playing.
It's sort of bad because there's not like Nintendo fully controls the used Switch game market and is very possessive in a way that is probably not aligned with copyright law as it exists today. But as they say, if you're going to sin boldly, and Nintendo certainly is.
And this one's not really a shocking headline, but this falls into the category that we see almost every week, which is the bad thing is allowed to be the bad thing until the mainstream media does a story about it. Then it immediately gets fixed.
Google Home is becoming a house of glitches, users say. Updated, Google heard you and
literally
made it a little less terrible.
So there was a tweet. Yeah, it's terrible. We're going to fix it. But of course, before that, they were probably thinking, well, no one's complaining because you can't. You can't complain to Google. There's no way to talk
they
to
probably
them.
cut the team, yeah.
Remember,
that deals with that.
This happened with the Nest thermostat right before they discontinued the first version of it. They don't care. It doesn't make sense.
And we're actually in the earnings season right now, and Tesla had their earnings, and it wasn't like the end of the world, but I think the stock did go down quite a bit. People weren't really convinced. And maybe this has something to do with it.
The Ars Technica headline is Tesla skepticism continues to grow. Robotaxi demo fails to impress Austin. Yes, we predicted that, but I mean, that's probably the easiest prediction we've ever made. Just because Waymo is so much better. It's like, do we expect Tesla's robotaxi rollout to be better than what Waymo has already been able to achieve? And the answer was no. But this article shows that it's a resounding no. And it's astonishingly bad, considering the head start that Tesla had.
And these kinds of headlines don't help because we've seen this problem in cars for a very long time, and they kept making the same mistakes. Car companies continue to do this.
Tesla faces lawsuit after man dies in burning Cybertruck, defectively designed. Nobody knows how to manually open the door.
Now, there is a way to manually open the door. And a lot of cars, this is not just Tesla, a lot of cars are like this. But the problem is maybe you don't know, or maybe you do know, but you're distracted by being on fire. Which can make it hard cognitively to conjure up memories of how to do a complicated multi-step process.
When we were looking at trucks, there was a guy at the lot who was trying to look at a Tesla, and like he was just pawing at the door of the Tesla because he couldn't figure out how to open it. I was like, oh, that's sad. Was it Volvo or Saturn or somebody? They had a prototype car where when it was in an accident, the passenger compartment was basically ejected like a pod.
But then that's going to hurt other people.
I mean, it was just like, whoop, yeah,
Just
maybe.
whoop.
Yeah, if a head-on collision and then it voops into my cabin,
Yeah.
I think that's a problem.
It's a problem for both parties, to be clear.
That'd be funny if like your car catches fire, so it yeets you into another car which is also on fire.
So now you're covered in shattered glass and fire.
But if you are wandering the woods, as Krista plans to do later this year, you do have a new kind of lifeline for a monthly fee.
Starlink-powered T-Satellite service is now live on T-Mobile. You can only do text messaging, and you can only share your location.
You can text 911.
That's probably enough to get a decent rescue crew to you.
But you couldn't do it yesterday or the day before. When did this happen? I don't remember exactly when this was.
It says live, but I think that's a lie.
But yeah, and they might be updating this, but it is back now. But for a while there, if you were trapped in the woods and thinking that you had that lifeline, you didn't.
Starlink down. Elon Musk red-faced amid global satellite internet outage. This is disturbing because one of the architectural details of this was supposed to be multiple ground stations and the satellites can route around it. That did not happen here. That is disturbing.
Would you say it's concerning?
It's concerning, yes.
That was a software update issue, not a hardware issue.
And not solar weather.
And this is straight from Meta, so this is, of course, a propaganda piece, but they have an interesting new piece of hardware.
New Reality Labs research on sEMG published in Nature.
So it's a wristband, and it gives you what they describe as one-dimensional control via hand movements only.
I think this would be handy with cell phones, not just augmented reality or virtual reality.
Yeah, public places. Maybe get people off those speakers, speakerphone calls. What's wrong with you people?
Why is the world so noisy now?
This is not the first time we reported on the wrist thing. I think the first report we had on this was like 2 or 3 years ago, but it's surprising to see that it's as good as it is.
Yeah, because
apparently.
it didn't work when we first reported it.
Yeah.
And this still doesn't work, but it's a little bit closer to working. And if it ever does work, it's certainly going to change everything.
Scientists are now 43 seconds closer to producing limitless energy through fusion.
So this is there's the tokamak. I don't remember how we figured out how to pronounce that, but this is a stellarator. It's a different design, different way of doing it, and they broke the record. This is the Vondelstein 7X, and it has managed to do it for much longer. And what's the 3 thing? It's closer to sustainable nuclear fusion, like the inside of the sun. They do have some problems with everything melting. Also, this creates a helium-3 as a byproduct.
Neat.
That could be useful in its own right.
Yeah.
Think of all the balloons.
I think we should put helium-3
That's fine.
in the birthday balloons.
We are like, what's hey chat engagement challenge. What's the latest on the helium shortage? Because it seems like we were really quickly running out of national stockpiles, and that's going to be bad for medical imaging.
Yeah, I remember everyone being really freaked out. Like, I saw a lot of stories about that a couple years ago, and then it just disappeared.
Just don't think about it.
Well, I mean, obviously no one else is, because I don't see stories about it anymore.
Was that actually a billionaire trying to pump helium futures? Because if so, okay.
No one's thinking about that, and sometimes I wonder if people are thinking just in general. And I really, really want to find out how many have an inner monologue. That's my life's goal, and to exclude them from society. Just kidding.
He's not kidding.
But now that we might be on our way.
A thinking cap. This AI-powered cap could transform thoughts into text. As one of the first subscribers to the OpenEEG mailing list, I have subscribed to your newsletter, sir.
So this actually tokenizes your brain activity much like a large language model does, and seeks to map it in the same way.
I'm going to have to sandwalk in my thoughts?
I don't know that you can beat this.
It's not going to be drink verification can. It's going to be, we're going to need you to wear the shower cap for 5 minutes in order to view this program.
They don't need this for the drink verification can. The Wi-Fi identification can do that. That brings that meme immediately into reality.
I'm afraid of being incepted.
They'll probably be able to identify, like once they get really good at that, they'll be able to tell what kind of cola's in the can too based on the carbonation. That's not a Mountain Dew. Or you trying to drink a Mellow Yellow? No, I don't think so.
You're trying to drink a LaCroix?
Did you cut the top off of a Mountain Dew can and put a different can down in there? No, sir. And Alaska Airlines had a terrible problem, reminiscent of the big airline breakdown from the previous, was it last year or the year before?
I think it was last year. I think it was because it was around Thanksgiving, wasn't it?
I think so, yeah.
Computer glitch grounds every Alaska Airlines flight. It's just a software problem.
They fixed it. And Uber will, actually this headline is a little bit wrong because they admit in the article that it's more of a suggestion than a rule.
Uber will let women drivers and riders request to avoid being paired with men starting next month.
Also, that is a landmine in the modern gender landscape, right? You're gonna say you don't match my requirements filters here? You're gonna tell somebody that? You're gonna get sued. Uber's gonna get sued. Wait and see. LibreOffice is a great piece of software. I just set my parents up with new computers. Why would you buy Microsoft products for that? You put this on there, you set them out, set them free, but they are making it more and more difficult.
LibreOffice calls out Microsoft for using complex file formats to lock in Office users. Yes, this is literally something that came out in the antitrust trial of something that Microsoft has deliberately done, even with the open document format. It's pretty old in their playbook.
So they're basically just adding so much extra garbage to these formats that LibreOffice has to spend an insane amount of time accounting for every little thing. And they also make it difficult to understand what's going on in there on purpose. It's not, I mean, we don't need that kind of file format for the markup. That's a solved problem.
If you look at some of the file format fields, the insanity is far deeper than you realize. The first Boolean field, I think, in one of the formats is whether or not the 1904 date system is in use, true or false. And that's the extent of the documentation. But what that actually means is, did this file come from a Mac or from a PC? Because the old Macs, like pre-OS 10 Macs, started in 1904, whereas IBM PCs could deal with like 1900 because of the leap year thing. And so Excel stores it differently depending on whether the file came from an OG Mac or an OG PC. And there's nothing in the documentation about how that works. You just have to discover that. And that's one Boolean field.
Ubisoft is getting a lot of pushback for being terrible in so many ways, but they are doubling down. They are not changing direction based on that.
Ubisoft CEO responds to Stop Killing Games petition, says, nothing is eternal. Well, I think Ubisoft is going to, I mean, maybe not. Maybe it'll be like Nintendo where people don't actually vote with their wallet, but I think people should vote with their wallet. Because we got two really amazing data points here, that the Stray and Clar Obscur, that are really good games that Ubisoft could have executed on but didn't because they're too stupid.
I would argue, he says nothing is eternal, and that's true, but I think as long as humans exist, one thing that will be eternal with us is the corruption of people with money and power.
Death, taxes, etc.
I suppose death could be eternal, right? Yeah. And
Gosh, I hope so.
Ubisoft had their financial report, and they have suffered a bit. But remember that when they do these kinds of financial reports, you are not the audience. The audience is their shareholders, and they tell them a much more realistic picture of things than they will ever tell you in these press releases like what we just looked at.
Ubisoft's annual financial report includes claim that monetizing games with microtransactions, quote, makes the player experience more fun, unquote.
I would say it's maybe more addictive. I don't know if fun would be the word I would use there.
I don't have fun with microtransactions.
I can't stand it. Especially, I feel like a lot of modern shooters, they do the microtransaction thing, but they also like pop up all the time to tell you you've unlocked stuff, like even mid-match. And it's like, I don't care about this. I want to play the game.
No, but a lot of people do care about that. That's that little endorphin hit. It's like, oh, progress. Yeah, I don't know if it's fun, but people do it, so there is some appeal to it.
Overwatch 1, when I finally stopped playing the game when they shut it down, I think I had like 2,000 loot boxes that I just never opened.
Some people
Our chat was so upset.
Yeah, they would just watch you do that.
Yeah, they were like, why don't you open the loot box? I don't care about the loot box. I'm here to play the game.
Games?
No,
That's
just
secondary.
Box. Yeah.
We're a microtransaction company. And Grindr has decided that you cannot express yourself in a very, very specific way when trying to find a partner.
The 404 headline is Grindr won't let users say no Zionists, but you get an error message. An error message will pop up if you try to say that. But any number of other political phrases are allowed.
Including the positive version of that. And you could they ran no and like basically every other
Like possible, yeah.
you can think of. That was fine. Just that one, just that specific one. Interesting.
Which dating app allows you to put no flat earthers or blocks you from putting no flat earthers?
I think some of these used to let you filter by race, and they removed that because they don't like kind of the same thing. And YouTube has decided to put their foot down. Not really.
YouTube wipes out thousands of propaganda channels linked to China, Russia, and others. Most of them were just AI-generated nonsense that were probably going to get wiped out anyway. But a few of them had a lot of followers.
But the anti-Chinese AI slop is still there. I see it all the time. That's okay. And Trump really is, I mean, at this point, you can't blame him because we've entered into a world where the truth doesn't matter. Just, capture the attention, get your momentary points or whatever, and move on. That's what people do. That's what he's giving them.
The headline here is Trump puts up an AI video of Obama being arrested by the FBI in the Oval Office.
With an AI-generated Trump sitting, watching it happen.
Don't you think he looks a little younger there?
He does, and a little thinner as well.
He didn't make this, but he retweeted it, and it's just like, okay.
Didn't he also, call for Obama to be arrested, and then someone pointed out at the press release, a member of the press was like, you've made it so any president can't be arrested.
He was very explicit that you should not be able to go after former presidents because
he is one.
He was convicted. Yeah. So that's interesting. It may be, and I don't know this for sure, but it may be that he's trying to deflect attention
From
From-
something
away from
else.
something
What could it
else.
be, though?
My favorite deflecting attention story was one of those. It was like the fake letter about Powell's resignation, but it was alien life disclosure. It was like, oh yeah, up next in the cavalcade of distractions is going to be, here's incontrovertible proof that we're not alone in the universe. It's just like, what?
Yeah.
But that was a senator being somewhat tongue-in-cheek sarcastic.
You know what? If they've been suppressing fusion and he lets that go ahead, I'll forgive him for all of it. A one-time pass.
It's like, oops, your electricity bills are going to go to zero. Mea culpa.
And Trump has also once again reversed his position on something that he has already reversed more than once.
The Ars Technica headline is, Trump, who promised to save TikTok, threatens to shut down TikTok. TikTok, for their part, are working on a replacement application that will also be called TikTok, but is not the TikTok app that we have today, but is an application that they would feel comfortable turning over to control to another company, which is weird, but this article doesn't cover all of those points.
TikTok, America's version.
Yeah, I mean, that seems like, and they're like, okay, we're going to try to do that, but it's probably not going to be done by the shutdown deadline, so...
Again, not the dream of the internet, where it was like, let's connect everybody all around the world.
Well, one of the great things about the internet was supposed to be accountability and transparency for people that are in, and we haven't gotten that, and it's gotten worse.
It's weird how everything gets co-opted.
Sad.
It's just like, I would like the receipts to see if you followed through on your campaign promises. It seems like it would be easier to document that with a panopticon of surveillance and...
But no politician would ever allow that to happen because it would be the death of all of modern politics because no one's ever done that.
The best politicians are not career politicians, it seems. It seems that there's more evidence of that than ever.
Here we are anyway. We're career politicians.
How do we use technology to solve the problems of the world?
Sam Altman has all the answers in the next episode.
Well, there probably is an answer, but I can't say it on this.
On this platform.
place, yeah.
I think the founding fathers knew exactly what that solution was, and they were not bashful about talking about it.
We'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.